Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about shopping for luxury items overseas and how we can save some money. I'm going to talk about the VAT refund policy, how it differs in the UK versus the rest of Europe, and how I saved money on my recent trip to London purchasing this new beauty. So, spoiler alert if you missed my last video, I did pick up this Speedy bandolier in the 25 size in the classic Dami Ibn print, and in that video, I talked about how happy I was to have this in my collection, but I also gushed about how much money I saved purchasing this in London versus here in New York. I did save about $600 US, even though the UK does not offer VAT refunds at the moment for international visitors. So I'm going to go through step by step what that all means. I have my calculator. We'll run through some simple calculations to make the numbers come to life. I also have my Chanel Jumbo sitting out here because I will use the Chanel Jumbo as an example to illustrate how much you could save purchasing in the UK versus in the US. Also, I'll talk about how it works in other countries such as France, Italy, Spain, Germany, other shopping destinations that are popular in Europe, and I'll try to cover as much as I can. So let's get started. First of all, as I said, in the UK, there's no VAT refund policy. Let me just step back a bit for those of you who are not familiar with VAT. VAT stands for value added tax. It's essentially the tax that is applied to most goods and services across Europe. Now, in most of Europe, you can make a purchase and you would automatically be charged the VAT, and then you would submit some paperwork to get the VAT refunded back to you. However, in the UK, they're not doing that. So in January of 2021, the UK government announced that they would be scrapping their VAT refund policy, meaning that for any international visitors who do shopping, they pay the VAT and that is it. There is no refund, and that has been the case all this time. A few weeks ago, there was a lot of news around this because the UK government stepped forward and said, actually, we're going to reinstate the VAT refund policy. So once we reinstate it, international visitors will be able to get more savings by claiming a VAT refund as you would do in the rest of Europe. So a lot of brands and retailers and travelers, visitors were happy to hear the news. But then just a few days ago, the UK government came forward once again and said, never mind, we are actually not going to reinstate the VAT refund policy. And at the moment, no international visitors will be able to get a VAT refund. So we're back to square one. So what that means as an American traveling to the UK, you can do your shopping and you'll still get some savings, and I'll explain how, but you won't get an additional savings with the VAT refund because they're not offering it. I hope that makes sense. The VAT rate is 20% in the UK. It's also 20% in France, it's 22% in Italy, and it's all within that ballpark across Europe. If you make a purchase in Paris, let's say, and I remember I did this, I think it was the year 2017, I purchased a Celine bag and 2 bracelets from Hermes, and I remember in the boutiques I said I will be claiming a VAT refund. They gave me some paperwork and I filled it out. I brought it to the airport on my way out, got it stamped by customs, and then I believe I dropped it off at a desk or a kiosk that was marked for VAT refunds. And a few weeks later, I received the refund, and that was that. So that's how it generally works. It'll depend a little bit on each country and their rules and the process, but that's generally what it is. You pay up front, you fill out paperwork. If you filled it out correctly, you wait a little bit and you get that VAT money back. Because you're not a local resident and you don't live there, it's essentially a refund on the taxes since you're not a local. Does that make sense? The UK is not doing that though. Whether you're a local or you're a visitor, you're paying the taxes, and that is that. So let's talk specifics. This bag, the Speedy Bandolier 25, retails for £1,270 in the UK. This price includes the 20% VAT already. Okay, so the purchase price that you see, the retail price on the UK website, that all includes the VAT already. If you wanted to do the reverse math and pull out the 20% VAT, you would find that the actual cost of the product itself is closer to £1,000 versus £1,270. But for now, since the UK is not offering VAT refunds, this is the final price. This is the price that I paid. Right now, the UK pound is weaker than the US dollar, so it's more favorable for us Americans to travel there and do some shopping because the conversion rate is in our favor. So that translates to about $1,400 US dollars. That's what I paid. And the reason why I say I saved about $600 is because in the States, this bag retails for $1,820, and in the States, tax is not included already, so you'd have to add that in. I will use the New York City sales tax rate since that's what I'm most familiar with, 8.875%. Add that to the retail price, and it brings the total to $1,981 and change. So that is what you would pay here in New York versus what I paid in London, which is a $581 price difference or savings. Now, the other thing I want to mention, and by the way, I want to give a quick shout out to one of my UK-based subbies, Jen, because she helped clarify a few points for me. So in the past, there was a little bit of an exception to the rule in the UK. If you were an international shopper and you were traveling through Heathrow Airport and you made a purchase like I did in the airport, you would actually pay duty-free rate. So that would strip out the 20% VAT and you would save even more. However, the UK has closed that loophole or removed that exception for international visitors. So even though in the airport it says duty-free, you are still paying the tax, the 20% tax on especially these luxury items. There are some exceptions made for specific types of products, but definitely not luxury items. All right, now I have to also share some really exciting news. In my last video, I said that I purchased this for the equivalent of the 2018 US retail price. However, I am happy to report that I did a little bit more digging and I discovered that actually what I paid is closer to the 2015 US retail price. So that basically wipes out at least 7 years worth of Louis Vuitton price increases, which makes me really happy. So as an example, I found out that in 2015, this exact bag cost $1,360 US dollars. So if you were to add taxes to that, it would bring the total to $1,480, which is higher than what I paid in London recently. So yeah, I paid pre-2015 price for brand new from the boutique Louis Vuitton bag. So I'm very happy. But anyway, let's move on. So now let's use Chanel as an example. So the Chanel Jumbo, gosh, now we're talking Chanel, so the prices are in a different stratosphere. The Chanel Jumbo currently retails for 8,140 pounds. Okay, this translates to $9,215 US dollars with the current conversion rate. It's a lot of money, but it's even more if you were to buy it here in the States. The retail price in the US right now is $9,500. We all know tax is not included in that. I'll use the New York City tax rate again. That brings it to a whopping $10,343 and change. So that's how much you would pay here in New York versus what you would pay in the UK, and the savings would be $1,128 and change if you bought it in the UK. Even though you're paying the 20% VAT and you're not able to get a refund on that, you're still getting over $1,000 worth of savings. Why? Because the local UK price is better, and also because the conversion rate is in our favor. Okay, but this is really important. I wanted to point this out. Proportionally speaking, you're going to save much more on Louis Vuitton than on Chanel. If you do the math on this, which I did, the savings you would get on a Chanel Jumbo is about 10%. The savings you would get on Louis Vuitton is about 30%. So think of it as 10% off the US retail price, including taxes, or 30% off retail price in the US, including taxes. Why? Why 30% versus 10%? Why is such a big spread? Well, if you watched my video a couple of months ago, you may know the answer to this. It is because Chanel did what's called the price harmonization. It's just a fancy way of saying price hike. Chanel noticed that the European prices were lower than the rest of the world, and for some reason, they didn't like that. So they targeted Europe specifically and they raised all the prices just a few months ago. That is price harmonization. They're trying to even out the prices globally so that the gap between prices in Europe and let's say the US is not as wide. So they've essentially closed in on that gap, making it more narrow. And therefore, while you still can save by purchasing in the UK at the moment, it's not going to be as generous of savings because they've narrowed that gap. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, Louis Vuitton has not done the price harmonization yet. They have done it in the past, and there are rumors swirling that Louis Vuitton will follow suit and do exactly what Chanel did in Europe. And if they do that, that will also close the gap, and perhaps shopping in the UK, you'll get a 10 to 15% discount versus the 30% discount that I saw. So just something to keep in mind, something to kind of be aware of. Of course, if you travel to other European countries like Italy or France, you can apply for the VAT refund. So you'd have to do the math to see price in euros converted to USD minus the VAT refund and see how it works out. My guess is that it will be a little bit more favorable than shopping in the UK, but I haven't sat down and actually done the calculations. The other thing that I wanted to mention is foreign transaction fees. So one of you asked me in my last video whether or not I get charged foreign transaction fees when I use my credit card traveling overseas. And the answer is no, I do not. So because I travel quite frequently, I only use credit cards that do not charge foreign transaction fees, because that would all really add up, not only with shopping, but even eating when I'm abroad. I don't want to be charged fees every time. So the card that I use is the Chase Sapphire Preferred. It's my favorite credit card. I've been using it for years. It's actually really beneficial to frequent travelers because there's all kinds of benefits and perks and bonus points that you can accumulate. But they absolutely do not charge foreign transaction fees. The only catch is they do charge an annual fee, which is nominal, and it is definitely worth it for me at least, and it'll probably be worth it for you as well if you do travel often. So yeah, I'm hoping this information is all helpful. If you happen to have any additional information that you think would be helpful for us as a community, please do share it down below in the comment section. And if you have other questions, let me know in the comments and I will try my best to get to them. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And if you are new to my channel and you like this type of content, I would love for you to subscribe and join the group. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.